Park, a new beginning, let's go. Started back rocking the brown. Ever since we've been knocking them down. Baby said she wanna go to the game. Taught her how to say Padre gang. Started back rocking the brown. Ever since we've been knocking them down. Mitchell and Ness with the old school name. All of the homies holler Padre gang. Yeah, that.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Talking Friars pregame show for October. We are in October now. October 1st, 2022. We got the Padres and the White Sox later today at 5:40. Mike Clemenger on the mound for the Padres. Dylan Cease on the mound for the White Sox last night. A disappointing loss for the Padres. Obviously, they saved Yu Darvish to pitch Friday's game instead of having him pitch on Thursday. Thought they'd have a better chance of winning, and Darvish gives up 3 runs. Offense doesn't really come through in some moments. There was the bad send by Matt Williams, and Profar was tagged out. That would have been the tying run at one point. Juan Soto almost hit a home run, but it was foul. That would have been a go-ahead run late in the game, and then he strikes out looking later in the at-bat. So some things just didn't go, that some things didn't work out for the Padres last night, and hopefully it works out tonight, because Padres have now I believe a 2-game lead on Milwaukee for a playoff spot. Philly already lost today to the Nationals, I believe, so that's good news. Let me double check that. They actually have a doubleheader today, it looks like. Yeah, Washington won 13-4 in the first game. And then Milwaukee plays Miami today at 4:10. So that'll be a little before the Padre game starts, hour and a half before or so, like that. Dylan Cease, Padres are facing him today. I mean, the Padres, right, they played really, really well against Zach Gallen. A couple weeks ago, right, Zach Gallen, he was just coming off that long scoreless streak. Probably the best pitcher in the National League at that time. And the Padres ended up winning that game 2-0. They earlier in that series, that Thursday game, they got 7 innings shutout by a Diamondbacks rookie pitcher, So that's kind of what it's been. Like, the Padres, they've been able to be competitive against the really good guys. Even they beat, like, Max Scherzer earlier this year. But then when a rookie comes in there, you never faced him before, that's where they struggle. So maybe this is another Gallen-type game where the Padres offense can produce, even though they're facing a guy that you would think they wouldn't produce off of because of how good his numbers have been this season. Last outing for Cease went 6 innings, no runs. He has not allowed more than 3 runs in an outing since August 23rd. You're going to get 6 innings probably out of him, just looking at his game logs. He did have a complete game against Minnesota on September 3rd. Maybe, hopefully, new month, and it's a new Cease, meaning it's not as good of a version of Dylan Cease as pretty much this entire season has been. I mean, his ERA right now is 2.06. Like, he's firmly in the Cy Young conversation for the American League. And the Padres, they're throwing out there what's probably a playoff lineup. I mean, Grisham's not in there, Azokar's in there, but it's pretty much the same guys as last night. Last night, obviously, they scored 1 run, so having this lineup doesn't guarantee you anything, but I do like the guys that they have in there. Maybe you could argue having Will in there over Drury or Bell. I'll get to the lineup here in a second. But other than that, I mean, that's the playoff lineup. With Clev on the mound, they gave him an extra day of rest, just like they gave Darvish an extra day of rest, and Bomel made sure to emphasize that this extra day of rest was big for Clev as well, when he was talking with reporters about why Yu Darvish was starting yesterday instead of the day before. So hopefully Clev did use that rest day well, and he's fresh and can give the Padres at least 5 go into the 6th. Because looking at the bullpen situation, you had Garcia, Martinez, and Suarez pitch yesterday. So I would think Morahone, Wilson, Johnson, Hader, Martinez again, Garcia again. So I would think that pretty much the entire bullpen is available today. Um, because guys that didn't pitch yesterday had the day off, obviously, yesterday, and guys that did pitch yesterday, they had the day off before that, and no one yesterday in the bullpen threw more than 12 pitches. Suarez threw the most. So the bullpen is rested. Uh, I think it's in pretty good shape. So I would think if the Padres can get 5 solid innings out of Clev, maybe get into the 6th, I'd be fine with that. I'll take that from Clev. Based on his last outing against Colorado gave up 5 earned runs. Um, September was a rough month. 5 earned runs on the 4th, 4 earned runs on the 9th, 6 earned runs on the 14th against Seattle, where he gave up those 3 home runs in Seattle. Pitched better against St. Louis, 5 2/3, no runs, but then struggled again against Colorado. So right now, I'm taking like 5 solid innings. Hopefully, he can get into the 6th. But quality start, that's what I want. Well, quality start would be 6 innings, but in terms of runs, like give up 3 or less runs, keep the Padres in the game, and I'll take that. Maybe you have to be better because Dylan Cease is on the mound, but again, the Padres have done pretty well against good pitchers this year. Um, so we'll see. White Sox lineup is out. Elvis Andrus is leading off. Mark Payton's in left. Eloy Jimenez homered last night. He's DHing. Gavin Sheets is in right. Yohan Moncada is at third. Andrew Vaughn is at first. AJ Pollock is in center. Grandal's catching. He was not in the lineup yesterday. Josh Harrison, who was in the lineup yesterday, he's at second base batting ninth. Profar for the Padres, he is leading off in left tonight. Soto, he's in right. Manny's at third. Crony's at hitting fourth again. He's at second. Jury's at first batting fifth. Josh Bell is DHing. So, that's where I guess the question is, do you go with Bell or Myers or Drury or Myers? I think Drury's definitely going to be in the lineup every game until they clinch. He's been good with the Padres since that trade when he's been on the field. Kim is hitting seventh at short. Nola's catching. And Azokar's in center. So it's not Grisham. It is Azokar tonight. Grisham, another 0 for last night. Hasn't gotten a hit since September 13th, I think. Azokar hasn't gotten a hit in his last 4 games. So I put it up on Twitter today. I was like, yeah, if you were Bob Melvin, would you have Will Myers be in center field? Like, would you think about doing that? I would think about doing it. Not like the playoffs or anything, but you're not getting anything offensively out of your center fielders, right? So I don't think it would hurt to try Will in center. You can always move him to first if you want to take Drury or Bell out of the game at some point. Um, he can play multiple positions. You could slide him over to left if you want to take Profar out at some point. There's some people that were bringing up, oh, maybe you want Soto in center. Well, no, he's played center before, but he's the right fielder. I don't think you screw with Soto and put him. I don't think you move positions like that. I don't know if he's played center with the Padres yet. I don't think he has. He's been the right fielder, and he is the right fielder. So really, it's kind of like, to me at least, Myers, Azokar, or Grisham. The Padres, from their view, it's probably Grisham still. They want to get him right. Their best version of the Padres is with Grisham playing well in center field. But if he's not going to be playing well this year, then who cares? Like, that shouldn't even be talked about. Like, oh, the best team is with Grisham in center. But if he's not going to play like that Grisham in center offensively at the plate, then that doesn't matter. You got to judge it off of Grisham struggling against Azokar struggling. And so if they're judging it off of that, and the only 2 options are him and Azokar, then they're probably going to go with Grisham. They're probably going to go with him. If they don't want Will in center. Bob Melvin seems open to having Will in center field, but obviously they didn't do that today. Dylan Cease, he is a right-hander, so it would be a right-on-right matchup. But Jose Azokar's a righty, and they're putting him in center today. So we'll see. I guess that's something to watch for. If they try to have Will out there in center, he's the better offensive option of the 3. But I do think that the Padres, they probably don't want to go that far to have Will in center. They probably don't want to do that. Um, like defense wise, I don't think they want to do that. So I think both guys are going to have to continue to really struggle for them to start doing that. We'll see if they do it today, late in the game, or we'll see if they do it tomorrow for the starting lineup if things don't go well today. But that's definitely something to watch for. So the Padres going for their 87th win of the season. White Sox going for their 79th win, trying to get to 500. Disappointing season for them. Underwhelmed, definitely. Padres' magic number is still 3. They lost last night. Milwaukee won, so they're 2 games up on Milwaukee for a playoff spot. And I believe they're 2 games up on Philly right now on a playoff spot because Philly already lost today, like I mentioned earlier, to the Nationals. Let me double check the standings real quick. Just want to make sure I'm right. Yeah, so San Diego, we have a 2-game lead on Milwaukee and Philly for that 5th seed. Milwaukee and Philly are tied for that final wild card spot right now. And Milwaukee and Philly both have one more game today. Milwaukee only plays once today, Philly playing twice, obviously. Um, Milwaukee, like I said earlier, plays at 4:10 against Miami. And Philly, after losing first game 13-4 against the Nationals, they will play at 4:05. They will have Syndergaard throw for them against the Nats. Luke Voigt homered, by the way, former Padre, helping out the Padres a little bit there for the Nationals. He homered earlier today in that first game. Okay, we already talked about the bullpen, talked about the lineups. It's going to be another probably good pitching matchup, but I feel like whenever I say that, it ends up not really being a good pitching matchup. Obviously, I don't really want it to be a good pitching matchup if we're only talking about the White Sox. Like, I want that to turn into the Padres surprising people and scoring a lot of runs off of Dylan Cease. You know, AL Cy Young frontrunner probably. It would be good to have some fans, quiet down on Twitter and stuff and, not be booing. I understand why they were booing, like Grish striking out looking last night. I was at the game. People were booing that. I understand. But it would be nice to have the Padres score some runs off of a really, really talented starting pitcher today, especially when they couldn't win yesterday against a guy we've never heard of, like Davis Martin, I think was his name. Martin Davis, or I think it was Davis Martin. So, yeah, that's pretty much what we got today. My Padre pick is going to be Profar. I think he has is it an 8-game hitting streak? I saw something about that. I know he has a hitting streak. Don't know how long it is. I saw that in Kevin Acey's newsletter this morning. Yesterday I went with Crony. He got a hit. So I'm 99-52, I believe, so far this season in my pregame show Padre pick. Um, I'll finish this off with the chat. If you want to support the channel, you can use the super chat button, super thanks button on regular videos. Caitlin says, I would much rather have Myers in center field than Azokar or Grisham. I don't know about defensively in center field, but in terms of offense, I agree. I think he's the best option right now based on the way that Grisham and Azokar are hitting, or in some cases not hitting, both of their cases at least recently, not hitting at the plate. Myers, I know he struck out looking in his last at-bat yesterday, or his only at-bat yesterday when he pinch hit for whoever, Grisham, I think it was, in that 9th inning. But he has been playing better than Grisham and Azokar. That's the bottom line. Let me look up his game logs real quick. I think he had a good September. I'll go through the entire month of September, his splits there. He had 58 at-bats, hit 259, drove in 7 runs, 770 OPS. You kind of want that OPS to be like around 800, but Padres I think they'll take that when Grisham and Azokar are struggling at the plate right now. Azokar, no hits in his last 4 games. Myers has 2 in his last 4. Um, he has 4 in his last 5. So, Grisham, they want him in there for his defense, and right now, they're probably trying not to have Myers as an option in center, but it is something to think about. Um, and if they're only going by or if they're only going, like, comparing Grisham and Azokar, who'd you rather have? Well, both guys, like I said earlier, they're not doing great offensively, so you're gonna go with the guy who you think has either the higher potential to do some damage offensively, which is Grisham, or you're gonna go with the guy that's better defensively, and Grisham is that guy. But with that said, Azokar is in the lineup today. So both guys aren't doing well. They're just alternating guys who are playing, and I guess they're probably hoping that one of those guys gets hot, obviously, and then they just ride that guy. Maybe. Usually with the righty on the mound, you'd see Grisham in there, but he played last night. JD's third asks, Ben, are you not concerned with this team even if we back in the wild card? Feels ominous. If we back in I mean, I don't care how we get in. Like, once the postseason hits, it's a new season. Like, everyone has 0 wins. The stats, yeah, you could remember what happened during the regular season, but it's a totally different animal. So, I'm not concerned regardless of how the team backs in, unless, like, if they take it to, the last day of the regular season or something, then maybe, but let's say they clinch tomorrow or on Monday, I don't care. I want them to clinch. That's all I care, I want them to make the postseason. So, that's kinda my thoughts on it. Yeah, the offense is gonna have to be better. It's gonna have to be more consistent with runners in scoring position when the postseason comes. But that's not where we're at right now, right? You wanna see that upwards trend, the positive trend, toward that happening. But, no, to answer that, I'm not concerned with the team even if they back in. Like, I believe in the pitching. I still believe in Darvish, and there's still talent in the offense. Caitlin asked, how do you feel about Josh Bell? To be honest, I know he drove in a run yesterday, but I'd rather have Drury, like, DH and have Myers at first in, like, a postseason lineup. If they're gonna have Grisham go play center or Zokar, if they're not gonna have Myers in center. I would personally go with Drury and Myers. That's just me. I just don't think that Josh Bell's really done much with the Padres since he came over in a trade. I think Drury's been good. I think Myers is probably the best first baseman that we have on the roster, if I'm being honest. When you not just defense, but everything, and even on defense, he seems pretty relaxed out there. With the Padres, Josh Bell, 48 games. He's hitting 187. On base percentage is 301. Like that to be higher. He's not slugging really at all. His OPS is 572. And like I mentioned earlier, you kind of want that OPS to be around 800. So, yeah, I think he's definitely not met expectations to what the level it was when he did come. I know he was considered like the throw in and all the attention was on Soto. And you could say that both guys haven't played up to that potential. But I believe in Soto. I'll say this. I believe in Soto more than I believe in Josh Bell, if that makes sense. All right. I think that's going to do it. Talking Friars pregame show, October 1st. We are in October. I'm enjoying this. Fans, we can be pissed off at the team and all that, but all I have left is to cheer on this team. And they're going to make the postseason. I'm still very confident in that. I'm going to continue to believe in this team as I have for months and months and months when others haven't. And that's just my mindset. So enjoy the game today. If you're there, definitely enjoy the game and say hi if you run into me. Go Padres and keep the faith. See ya.